What is up, NASCAR racing fans? You're watching the NASCAR Nitro Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel, and today it's the Owlman 400 at Pocono Raceway. Named after the Owlman, who was spotted a half hour south in Bangor, Pennsylvania last March, and has since become one of my driver avatars when I mail cars out to other channels. Now, Pocono is a triangle-shaped track. We brought out the split turn we last saw at Texas in week 2. But this time there is a catch fence so cars don't go flying into the outfield like a lot of cars did at Texas. And now we're going to kick off the festivities with our pole sitter, Skeeter Davis. After DNQing at Talladega, he came back on a warpath, dominated all of qualifying. The gates are down. And look at this, Richie gets a jump from the start, pushed by his satellite teammate, but Skeeter Davis takes over. In the inside of the turns, William moves up to second place. We'll be starting on the outside for lap number 2. Richie moves back to third, and we've got our first caution of the day. That is Nessa Force, once again on her roof and out of the race. Another lap 1 DNF, just horrible luck for her. And now we're going to kick off lap number 2. Skeeter Davis retook the lead. He's starting next to his biggest rival for the points championship, William. And he's going to need to make up a lot of ground here. Gates are down. Skeeter Davis running away with it. William, trouble for William. He gets turned over. Collects his teammate Sawyer, who pushes him back onto his wheels. Another dominant lap by Skeeter Davis. Gale moves up to second place. Meanwhile, a disaster class for Uncle Elvis Racing. William and Sawyer are going to have to claw their way back over the last 2 laps. More trouble for William at the start of lap 3. His rear diff explodes at the start gate. Skeeter Davis once again running away, getting a push from the field filler, Kaz Gralla. Gale started this lap in second, retakes it by force at the last second. What a great drive for Gale. Looked like she was dead in the water in the outside lane. And cautions out another El Recco. This time it's Richie. On his roof and out of the race. Terrible points day for him. Just got a podium at Talladega. And the gates are down for the final lap. It's Sawyer hung up on the guardrail right out of the start gate as Gale heads into the turns ahead of Skeeter Davis, but then flips over back onto her wheels. She is off the track. Skeeter Davis takes the segment win. And the field filler of Darrell Waltrip to the seconds race. Williams salvaged third. For back-to-back laps of bad luck, that's the last thing Skeeter Davis wants. And let's go check on Sawyer. He's on his wheels. A car that fast in the thirds race could easily make his way into the seconds race and possibly beyond if he gets lucky enough. Let's see who gets lucky in segment number 2. On the front row, Baby Richie next to Johnson Jr. Behind them, Gator McCluskey and Alicia Lunatic. The field fillers of Jimmy and Bobby Sled. And finally, Vinny Nightlife, and for him, the season cannot end fast enough. And the favorite's got to be Baby Richie here. He's got the track position. Gator McCluskey, though, could try and make a push for it. He's got a pretty fast car, and he pushes Baby Richie to the lead. And cautions out. We got an El Recco on lap number 1. Baby Richie takes a lap, and Jimmy pulls all the way up to second place. Now let's see who's stuck back there. Vinny Nightlife survives the lap, and it's Johnson Jr. The downward spiral continues with a dreaded first lap DNF as they take him to the HSL junkyard. And now the gates are down for lap number 2. And look at this, Jimmy gets a push from Vinny Nightlife to take the lead over Baby Richie. But look at this, Richie side drafts him at the split turn. They're running away from the rest of the field. It's been Baby Richie and Jimmy all race long. Your first ever NASCAR Nitro Series winner left out of a full-time ride after having a bad second half of the year. He is making up for it today. He's looked faster than any field filler we've seen since Sterling Marlin at the Coca-Cola 600. And now Alicia pushes her satellite teammate to the lead. Some Gator McCluskey acrobatics there. Let's replay that for you. Don't know why he was showboating in third place, but whatever. Still going to show you. Look pretty cool. And now Jimmy takes second place once again after Alicia gets beached on the wall. And here is the replay. Gator McCluskey bins it in the inside lane. Bounces around on his wheels, on his roof several times before finally coming to a rest. Off the track now. He's going to start this last lap in last. And he gets a little squirrely out of the start gate. Alicia Lunatic and Baby Richie running away with it. And cautions out. We got a big pileup coming out of the split turn. Baby Richie's the only driver that escapes. It looks like we got at least 2 drivers on their roofs. Now let's pivot the HSL drone back to the crash site. And it's a triple DNF. Everyone but Alicia Lunatic ends up on their roof at the last second. After 3.5 laps of relatively clean racing, that's a triple DNF. Only 2 finishers to this segment. And here we are at the HSL junkyard. Bobby Sled knows his season's over, already packed his bags and went home. So now let's see if segment number 3 is going to have more finishers than the last 2. We do have quite a few volatile cars here. After the front row, we got Rusty Wallace, Emerson, Ricky Rudd, and Lord Shank. They've had their fair share of DNFs this year, but they're all very fast too. So who knows how this one's going to go. Clyde takes the lead. Rusty and Isaac battling for second place. They rubber band back to Clyde's rear bumper. He doesn't really do anything wrong. Clyde leads the outside open, almost lets Isaac pass him for the lead. Rusty Wallace stays in third. Ricky Rudd moves up to fourth. What a close lap at the end. Caution's out. It looks like we got our first DNF of the segment. That's Emerson on his roof and out of the race. They take him to the HSL junkyard. His season of bad luck after scoring a top 10 in his debut continues. Another lap 1 DNF. And now the front row hasn't changed much. Clyde and regular Isaac to lead the field down to green. They're side by side heading into the split turn. Clyde gains a lot of speed on the inside lane. Another caution for another El Reco. Double DNF for Rowdy Bush. And it looks like Rusty Wallace. And now let's pivot the HSL drone back to the crash site. There's Ricky Rudd caught up in Rusty Wallace's mess. Lord Shank on his roof as well. That's a triple DNF. Another big one. 2 big ones already. We were expecting this kind of action at Talladega. Not so much Pocono. Maybe they think they're still at Talladega. Now the gates are down for lap number 3. And look at Clyde running away with this. And he gets turned over. Clyde's on his roof and out of the race. Isaac makes it through. Once again, another bloodbath. 2 drivers for the final lap. And the crew's getting super busy at the HSL junkyard. And one of the more rowdier drivers is even getting a police escort. The crew's at the junkyard. Going to be working a ton of overtime collecting all the usable parts off of these cars. And now the gates are down for the final lap of this segment. Ricky Rudd, the only T-Bird stalker from last season that didn't get a podium finish, trying to get into his first career main event, and he flips over on the outside lane. Ricky Rudd's on his roof. Isaac, the only finisher of this segment to the main event, survives on his wheels for the final lap as Ricky Rudd gets taken out to the HSL junkyard. Now let's see if segment number 3 can have a bit cleaner racing than these first 2 segments. We've only had 3 finishers so far, and now the gates are down for lap number 1 of this segment, and caution's out for an El Reco already. Before they even leave the split track, Coffee Tart bins it, driving in a straight line on the ramp, holds up the rest of the pack behind her, and look at this, it's a double DNF. N counts out of the race too. Terrible points day for all of these big names as they head out to the junkyard. The crews really must not be happy right now, having to push all these cars around. And now it's time for lap number 2. Pantone came out of that mess in the lead. Next to him is Russ from In-Laws Racing, both of them still looking to make their first ever main event. Pantone gets a great push from Jimbo Rockford, who is tangled up with Russ in the middle of the turn. Pantone running away from the rest of the pack. Leads lap number 2 by 2 full track segments. Pantone leading halfway through the segment. He's got to contend with a hungry Jimbo Rockford in a brand new car, still looking for his first career win. After several main event appearances earlier in the season, it looks like we've got another El Reco. That's Charlie on her roof and out of the race. As they get more and more busy at the HSL junkyard, cars are flooding in there. And now it's time for lap number 3 of this segment. The gates are down. Pantone's the only car to go. There's trouble. Trouble with the start gate, and now Jimbo Rockford stuck. Pantone leading by half the length of the track over Jimbo Rockford, but that wouldn't have mattered. He stalls in the middle of the split turn. Michael Waltrip drives up to him, smashes into him like it's the junkyard joust, flips over onto his roof. Here you can see what's left of Michael Waltrip's car on the front stretch. Tough break for him. There's not very many finishers in those first 2 segments. Would have had a good points day, possibly gotten himself into the top 64 had he hit the brakes just a little bit earlier. And now it's time for the final lap of this segment. If Pantone, Jimbo Rockford, and Russ can stay on their wheels, we'll double the number of finishers here. None of these cars are top heavy. They shouldn't have any problems. They look good so far. If they get through the split turn without any incident, Pantone holding off a charge by Jimbo Rockford at the last second. Pantone wins segment number 3, moves on to his first career main event. With Pantone moving on to his first career main event, let's see who makes it to the main event from segment number 4. On the front row, Morgan Shepherd next to Rowan. Morgan's teammate, Texas Terry, behind him. Sterling Marlin, one of the fastest field fillers, almost won the championship last year before we started taking mail-ins. You have Margot and Dave Marcus using Crazy Ruby's old car, and Neil Bonnet starting in last. And now the gates are down. We got a ton of cars beached on the guardrails of the ramp. Morgan Shepherd running away with it. Caution's out. We got our first DNF of the segment already. Morgan Shepherd runs away with the lap, and that's Margot on her roof and out of the race. Joins her fellow Gimpy Gang teammates in the HSL junkyard. A nightmare day for them. 0-3 with the DNFs. And now we're headed to lap number 2. Morgan Shepherd dominated that lap, much like the Eagles defense did in 2024. And now the gates are down. Rowan running away with it. Gets a great push from Sterling Marlin. But then bins it coming out of the split track while leading. Morgan Shepherd once again takes the lead. But Texas Terry slides past his teammate. Neil Bonnet comes out of nowhere to steal second place. We got a big wreck behind him. Rowan and Sterling Marlin collided and collected each other coming out of the split turn. Neither one of them is going to see lap number 3. Well, they are. They're just going to have to watch it from the junkyard. And once again, for lap number 3, we're going to have the Mark Racell teammates tandem drafting in the inside lane. And now the gates are down for lap number 3. And look at that push. Neil Bonnet made only one other start this season. Gets from Benny Parsons. They're running away from the Mark Racell teammates. And now Texas Terry throws himself into the mix, battling for second place with Benny Parsons. Benny throws a block. Neil Bonnet leads lap number 3, holds up the Racell teammates. And it's Neil Bonnet, the Cinderella run, one more lap away from the main event. And now the gates are down for lap number 4. And look at this, Benny Parsons running away from the rest of the field. Instead of 3-car length lead coming out of the split turn, they're all still on their wheels. Benny Parsons runs away, gets a little squirrely, flips over right before the finish line, chokes away a spot in the top 64. Look at this on the replay. Benny Parsons, a golden ticket to the main event, flips over, ends up on his side. Literally less than an inch away from the finish line. Benny Parsons, he came into this race 80th in points. A win would have put him in the mid-40s. Even a 7th place finish in the main event would have got him somewhere around 49th, 50th, at least a chance to qualify for the next race. Now it's highly doubtful he'll be in the top 64. Literally the biggest choke job of the year so far. But moving on to better things, we have our 5th and final segment on the pole. Tristan Racewelski. Next to him, last week's winner, Crazy Ruby, and behind them, Far Out Jay, the winner of your stock Coca-Cola 600, the field filler of Jeff Fuller, Riot Isaac, Violet, and Kevin Harvick, much like a lot of these other field fillers trying to save his season here. The gates are down. Tristan Racewelski comes out with the lead, beats Far Out Jay by almost a track segment, and cautions out for another El Reco. This time it's Crazy Ruby on her roof and out of the race. Just a nightmarish day for Mark D. All 5 cars between Cut Rock Creek Racing and the Gimpy Gang on their roofs. A tough break for Crazy Ruby, just won last week at Talladega. And now we have Tristan Racewelski and Far Out Jay. One of them has to be the odds-on favorite to win this segment. And look at Tristan Racewelski, stalls his car, backs up everyone behind him. Far Out Jay takes this by the entire length of the backstretch. Tristan Racewelski trying to make a comeback for second place. Almost gets there, but Jeff Fuller throws a block. Now he'll be drafting behind Far Out Jay to try and take second place away from him heading into lap number 3. Far Out Jay has this segment unlocked as long as he can keep his wheels on the ground. The gates are down. Far Out Jay once again multiple car lengths ahead before they even leave the split track. But here comes Tristan glued to his back bumper. Far Out Jay leads lap number 3. Violet takes 3rd place away from Jeff Fuller at the line. And it's been all Far Out Jay so far this segment. He'll lead the field down for lap number 4. Tristan Racewelski in second right next to him. He's got that 60-gram pusher of Violet behind him. The gates are down. Tristan Racewelski with no drafting help on the outside. Beats Far Out Jay by speed, knocks him off the track. He gets bodied by Violet and Riot Isaac. Far Out Jay chokes it away at the last second. Violet to the seconds race. Sloppy Bear Racing, both of their cars in the main event or the seconds race. And now it's time for the placement races. And this here is your 5th and 6th race. Kaz Gralla and Kevin Harvick. Far Out Jay, who would have been in the main event. And Sawyer, who's been battling flat tires and suspension issues all during his segment. The gates are down. Looks like Kevin Harvick's running away with this one. Getting a great push by Sawyer. Kaz Gralla tries to make a run for the lead, but spins and turns himself sideways. Kevin Harvick leads the first lap of the 5th and 6th race. Far Out Jay in last place in this race now. Let's see who it's going to be. Sawyer gets a great push from Far Out Jay. The outside lane takes the lead here. Sawyer bins it in the middle of the split turn, collects Far Out Jay with him. Kevin Harvick trying to make a move for the lead. Kevin Harvick is going to win your 5th and 6th race. He's going to move on to the 4th race where he joins Gale and Jeff Fuller. And Gale has to be the favorite here. Kevin Harvick came from a flea market. Jeff Fuller did nothing last season in that very car. And yes, Gale's running away with this, leading by a track segment heading out of the turns. Gale drives off the track, recovers back onto her wheels, but she chokes away the lead. Kevin Harvick's going to lead lap number 1. He's going to have Gale as a pusher. The gates are down, or maybe they're not. They all exit smoothly this time. Kevin Harvick and Gale running away from Jeff Fuller, leaving him in the dust. Can Gale make a move on Kevin Harvick for the lead? She tries to push him to the top of the track, but then loses all her speed in the top part of the turn, bins it, and takes out Jeff Fuller with her. Kevin Harvick, what a drive for him. The last car standing in the 4th race actually started in the 5th and 6th race. Joins the 3rd race with some pretty big names, including William, who has a near insurmountable points lead, gets caught in the middle of the split turn, collects all the other cars with him. And it's Texas Terry that makes it through the mess. Williams on his roof. He'll be credited with a 16th place finish. That's got to be what Skeeter Davis was hoping for, but it might still not be enough. His points lead was almost 300 points heading into this event. And one more top 10 in the last 2 races or a bad showing in the main event by Skeeter Davis, 5th, 6th, or 7th, might clinch it for him anyway. Now the gates are down for lap number 2. Texas Terry runs away with it, beats out Riot Isaac by a car length plus. Look at that, Texas Terry drives himself into the seconds race after having his chassis explode into 4 different pieces and being glued back together. He'll have a chance to get into the main event if he's able to beat Jimbo Rockford and Lunatic Alicia in the seconds race. But Jimbo Rockford's got a lot less mileage than these other guys. Same thing with Lunatic Alicia. Jimbo's got the car everyone wants in their rearview mirror, the 60-gram Pusher Violet. The gates are down, and Neil Bonnet tries to cut under Lunatic Alicia while Jimbo Rockford is stalled. Jimbo Rockford might have blown something up in his transmission. He mashes the throttle, but the wheels just keep on spinning as Alicia leads the rest of her lane like the Pied Piper down the track. 1, 2, 3. Alicia's going to beat out the field filler of Neil Bonnet by a track segment. And now look at this. She's got Violet in her lane. Jimbo Rockford back to 4th. His crew was able to reattach that broken shift cable on the last lap, but he's got a ton of ground to make up. And the gates are down. Alicia and Texas Terry, a great push from Violet. Absolutely fly away from the rest of the pack. Everyone else is jockeying for points. Alicia runs away with it and punches her ticket to the main event. And Texas Terry just barely beats Neil Bonnet for 8th place. Neil and Jimbo round out your top 10. There's Violet in 11th, and Darrell Waltrip somehow binned it on the ramp. That's 12th place for him, but enough about field fillers. It's main event time. Skeeter Davis with a chip on his shoulder the size of a boulder, trying to claw his way back into championship contention. And everyone behind him, Baby Richie, Morgan Shepherd, Tristan, Regular Isaac, and Alicia. Lots of Puffs cars, lots of guys with a ton of top 5s looking for their first win. Pantone gets squirrely coming out of the start gate. Skeeter Davis takes a car length plus lead over Baby Richie. Coming out of turn number 2, Skeeter Davis running away. Morgan Shepherd up to 2nd. Isaac from 5th to 3rd. And look at this, Alicia from last place up to 4th. And it looks like we have our first El Recco of the main event. That was Tristan Racewelski. He'll get credit for 7th place. Still a good points day for him. But does Morgan Shepherd or anybody have anything for Skeeter Davis? The gates are down once more. Skeeter Davis flying away from the rest of the field. It's a repeat of the first lap. Everyone getting squirrely, jockeying for position behind him. Skeeter Davis leads a pack of cars one by one. He gets beached at the wall at the last second. Let's watch this on the replay. Skeeter Davis running away from the field once more. Gets his right front tire caught on the guardrail. He collects Morgan Shepherd in that mess. Almost ends up on his roof. Still somehow salvages 2nd place. And look, there's Pantone. He doesn't make it through the split turn. It looks like Morgan Shepherd just barely beats out Baby Richie for 3rd. So here is your top 5 finishers, guys, halfway through the main event after Skeeter Davis's mistake heading towards the finish line. The gates are down. That extra pusher jolts Isaac to the lead. Morgan Shepherd up to 2nd place. Isaac running away from the rest of the field. Everybody falling into line behind him. Isaac running away. Morgan Shepherd trying to catch up. Doesn't have enough time. Alicia blocks the rest of the field behind her to hold on to 3rd place. Now it's time for the final lap. Isaac and Morgan Shepherd on the front row. Behind them, Lunatic Alicia and Richie on the inside. All 3 Puffs cars form a train, blow past the other cars in the outside lane. It's 1, 2, 3 for Puff or their satellite teammate In-Laws Racing. Isaac once more gains a bunch of speed out of the 2nd turn. Isaac is going to win your Owlman 400 at Pocono. Alicia Lunatic in 2nd place for Puff satellite team In-Laws Racing. Baby Richie makes it 3rd. 1, 2, 3 finish for Puff. Congratulations, a dominant performance, sweeping the podium. A great points day for Isaac and Baby Richie. This should jolt Isaac into the top 10, solidify Baby Richie's position in the top 5 in points. Skeeter Davis was 4th, Morgan Shepherd 5th officially. To round out your top 5, once you have a 3 teammate train in the inside lane, it is hard to beat. Isaac and Baby Richie and Alicia Lunatic all showed that. Great job, Puff. Now let's take a look at the rest of our top 10. Skeeter Davis, Morgan Shepherd round out the top 5. Pantone and Tristan round out your main event. Skeeter Davis gains 165 points. Terry Labonte, Neil Bonnet, and Jimbo Rockford is the rest of your top 10 in the seconds race. Great job, Terry Labonte. His first top 10 since coming back from that brutal injury at Martinsville. Jimbo Rockford, his first top 10 in the new car. Neil Bonnet, shocking everyone, your highest finishing field filler, cements his spot in the top 64. And now here's 11 through 25. Violet and Darrell Waltrip make up the rest of your seconds race. 16th place William gains 114 points. That means Skeeter Davis made up 51 points over William. That kind of rate is not going to cut it over the next 2 races. We're going to take a look at the exact numbers once we get to the point standings. Sawyer's your lowest finishing finisher. Gator McCluskey, your highest finishing El Reco. That's 22 DNFs, a little more than I had hoped for. But after the first 2 segments seemed like a repeat of Bristol last year, things sort of calmed down after that. Nessa forced credit for last place due to her first lap DNF. Terrible point days for Margot and Emerson and Crazy Ruby. Count Johnson Jr. and Coffee Tart catapulting themselves outside of the top 10 in points due to those poor finishes. While technically Coffee Tart's barely hanging on to 10th. And Williams still with 224 points ahead of Skeeter Davis. It's possible to make up, but it's going to be very difficult. I don't want to crown him champion yet, but if he makes the seconds race, thirds race, or main event at the Broad Street Hockey Run next week, he basically has the championship locked up no matter what Skeeter Davis does. And take a look at Baby Richie, almost 100 points over 4th. Tristan Racewelski moves back up to 5th with his top 10 finish. Isaac moves up an astounding 7 spots in the point standings from 14th to 7th with his win. Richie, Jimbo Rockford, and Coffee Tart round out your top 10. Johnson Jr. outside of the top 10, 23 points out after his first lap DNF, almost surpassed by his teammate Rusty Wallace. Count Crazy Ruby and Gator McCluskey. They'll need a miracle to get back into the top 10 in points. Pantone, congratulations, his first career top 10 finish. He moves up to 16th. Rowan, Riot, Isaac, Violet, and Lord Shank make up your top 20. Far Out J only 20 points behind Nessa Force, your highest ranking mid-season entry. Now here's the rest of the mid-season entries and Vinny Nightlife. Some of the best field fillers: Elmo Langley, Ross Chastain, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Jarrett, Sterling Marlin. Top 40 in points, Christian Fittipaldi. And now only the top 64 are going to travel to Philadelphia to attempt to qualify for the Broad Street Hockey Run. Here's 41 through 64. Bubba Wallace through Clint Boyer. Neil Bonnet with his top 10 moves in there. He's 59th. After the hockey run, the top 43 are the ones getting into the finale, as that's set by points. Right now, that's E. Marshall, but that's subject to change based on the results of the Broad Street Run. Rowdy Bush gets in. Tony Stewart. You'll be seeing the Joker car for probably one last time. Robbie Gordon, Paul Menard, Tyler Bloodfish in 50th. Surprise he's in there. Kyle Larson, Gravedigger. The Stinger gets in. Here's the rest of the drivers in red. They're disqualified for the rest of the season. Cole Custer out by just 1 point. Jeremy Mayfield, who won a race in that very car last year. Intimidator Benny Parsons. If he'd have gone into the main event, he would have made it in, even if he had finished 7th. Lord Raymond, one of your regulars in the mods, didn't make it. Don't worry, you'll still be seeing him in the mods race. He's like 8th in points or something like that. He's got nothing to worry about there. Richard Petty, a pair of second-place finishes last year. Marky Mart, you know him from the Lord Shank channel. Mohawk. Last place is Haley Deegan, ends up clinching last place after all. That valiant drive by Kevin Harvick to get himself out of the bottom 3 in points. Still not enough to get him into the top 64. MSRP Motorsports, the slowest car we've seen on the channel, somehow in 82nd. You guys won't be seeing a lot of those cars on the channel for a very long time, if ever. And if you want to see your cars on the channel, make sure they're under 70 grams. They're a NASCAR casting. They can be any single-digit, 2-digit, or 3-digit number except for 666. And you can mail them to HSL Diecast, P.O. Box 7, Wingap, PA. The rest of the official rules package is going to be on Redline Derby sometime between the mods races and the Broad Street Hockey Run. That's the gist of it. I'm pretty lenient. Can't wait to see what you guys cook up for 2026. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.